This is Andy Purewal, Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Joshua Buatsi a couple of days after his brilliant victory against Craig Richards in what was a very, very great fight to watch. Josh, congratulations once again. Just kind
Um,
of, what have you been doing since the fight, first and foremost?
I ain't slept much, that's for sure, man. Yeah, so I need to try and sleep a bit, but it's been all right, man. Do you know what? Before I got on this call, I was trying to unpack from the States and from the fight night. So my kitchen is messy right now, but yeah, I'm gonna unpack soon. But it's been all right, man. Of course, I'm more than happy to have woken up the next day as the winner, as we all want to do. Do you know what I mean? So it's cool, man. I'm in good spirits for sure.
Josh, does this win feel any different compared to your past ones because it's the biggest win of your professional career so far?
Um, it's the most recent one, so it feels like the most important one. Yeah, it's the most recent one. And yeah, I'm like, I had a good dust up with Spider, who again I can't give enough credit to and enough praise to, man. So I'm very happy to have got that win. Yeah, yeah, it feels different. Yeah, I mean because it was a different type of build up, so I can say that it was a different type of build up. So yeah, it feels different to an extent. Yeah.
You said it was a different type of build up. It felt like there was a little bit, if at least a little bit of needle between the pair of you. You could feel that rivalry, both of you from a similar area, both of you wanting to get that win over each other. There was kind of a back and forth, people going back to the face off you did with Ade Depot in there as well. Did that feel like it came through on fight night when you was in the ring? Or I brought it up in the press conference. We saw yourself and Craig staring at each other, just kind of like eyeing each other up. And in between rounds, you when the round would come to an end, you'd both just stand there and look at each other for 3 or 4 seconds
Yeah.
before actually going back to your stools. Did you feel that extra needle in this fight?
You know what, Andy? It's a local rivalry. Do you know what I mean? And in camp, I said to myself, whenever there's a local rivalry, it's always competitive. No matter how good one person might be or the other team, sorry, it's always competitive. So I said I have to prepare extra hard because I know Spider's gonna bring his A game, so I have to bring my A game too. So I knew it was gonna be that. And again, like I said, it's a local rivalry. The audience we probably knew the same people and everything. So yeah, there's rivalry. I'm fighting. Everything's on the line. Spider's looking at me during the round saying, "I'm here, Buatsi. What are you saying?" I'm looking at him back like, "Cool. I'm here too. What are you saying?" And no one wants to give in. You fight and push till the end because people have come to watch you that you probably will see in your everyday life when you're going about your days and stuff like that. So it was a good night, bro. Honestly, I enjoyed it, man. Maybe I could say that sitting down on a Monday in my kitchen, but during the fight, I don't know. But yeah, it was a good experience.
What goes through your mind in those moments at the end of the rounds when you were standing there and just staring at each other? I saw a couple moments when Craig would wink at you. I couldn't see your reactions because of where I
No,
was
I
sat.
think him first.
Okay.
Yeah, but what was going through my mind? I was just like, bro, Spider's here. Okay, we're here. This is what we said we're gonna do, and it's go time. And I'm not giving in. I'm not gonna break. And he's saying the same back to me that he ain't giving in. He ain't gonna break. So it was just kind of like who's gonna break first. Do you know what I mean? And to be fair, bro, we went 12. I can say no one broke first. You know what I mean? We fought from the beginning to the end. It was for after watching it, bro. I feel like it was action packed every round. You know what I mean? There were moments that we both had every round, man. It was non-stop. So I felt like the fans, they were in for a nice treat. And people say a lot of things before a fight, and people predict if a fight is going to be good or not. But I'm just glad that this one, if anything, maybe went past expectations because it was very, very entertaining. But watching it, even though I was the one fighting, when I watch it back, I'm like, damn, this is a good fight, back and forth. Like the commentators are talking as well. It was a good fight to watch, man.
I'm glad to hear that you've said you've watched it back because that's going to
Yeah,
lead on to kind of my next questions. At the press conference, you said you'd watch it back with Virgil. I don't know if that was the case or you watched it on your own.
no, I watched it back on my own so far.
Perfect. So just kind of from your perspective, Josh, just walk me through the fight from the first up until the last. How would you assess your performance?
I definitely won the fight. I had a very, very good start in the first half of it. And I think I had banked a lot of early rounds. And in the second half, the rounds became more competitive. There were runs where Spider took, there were runs where I took. But I just felt like in the earlier rounds, I banked quite a lot. And Spider he had his moments, but I feel like if we look at it overall, I had more moments than he did. But yeah, it was an entertaining fight, good fight to watch, man. But when I look at it, I'm like, yeah, Spider had his time. He had his time. I counted X amount. He had 10 amount of times. Cool. I looked at it. I said, okay, Josh, you had more times than 10, if 10 is the number. So yeah, overall, I felt I definitely won it. And like I said, I banked a lot of early rounds.
How would you have scored the fight, Josh? Would it have been as close as what the scorecards were in your mind?
What were they?
116, 112, 115, 113. I can't remember if it was 116, 112 twice or 115, 113 twice.
Okay, the 115, 113 insinuates that it was a close fight. So maybe that. It was a close fight, but like I said, there was a lot of the earlier rounds I banked. Like, and then when I look into the second half, I'm like, okay, maybe this round I took or he took. But some of the early rounds, it was clear that boom, I took that. No discussion. Let's move on to the next round. So I don't know. I would say it was a close fight, or but I don't know. I just know that I won. I haven't got the right word to describe it. I just know that I won the fight. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I see it. I wanted to win. I won the fight.
I did just have a quick glance there. It was 115, 113 twice. I mean, obviously, we won 116, 112, Josh. So just kind of looking at Craig's performance, was there anything he did which surprised you at all?
There wasn't what just one thing to give him credit for. There was his resistance and his will to um keep banging away. Every time I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have a go at you now. He said, have your turn, Buatsi, but I'm definitely gonna have my turn after. Or whilst you're having your turn, I'm gonna have mine too. So I have to give him that. He every time I thought I hurt him, he recovered straight away. Like I would hurt him, he'd go backwards, but as I'm approaching again, or as I'm thinking, okay, you got him there, he recovered on the spot instantly. So I have to give him credit for that. He always recovered. And even watching the back, some of the stuff that I was landing, I was like, oh, I've landed to some people before and they're getting a count or they're not getting up. But Spider, nah, didn't break. Like, so I have to give him that durable opponent. I knew he was durable, but I was like, how durable? But I said, going in, I said, he's a very, very durable opponent, 100% a durable opponent. But I hadn't been in with him with 10 outs for 12 rounds to know how durable he was going to be. So after doing that, again, he proved that he's very durable.
There were a couple of moments, Josh, and you might disagree with it, but just came from our view, it looked like maybe Craig had buzzed you a little bit. Would you think that's fair to say, or would you disagree with that?
No, everyone around me has asked me about the eighth round. They're like, oh, like, did he hurt you in the eighth round? And I was like, okay, so Spider's power was good. He had good power. Not one that had me on my bike. Because if someone's got that kind of power that's gonna hurt, you're gonna be on your bike. So in that round, he landed a very good uppercut. But I had momentum going forward anyways. So he landed it. I think my body was going forward towards him and he just slipped out of the way. So momentum drove me back onto him onto the ropes. Then he got out of the way, kept on punching, and I was trying to again smother his work, but he created a space. And where I'm leaning onto him just to smother everything, he just slipped out of the way. And again, it looked like I was going forward, but take nothing to him. He landed a good uppercut. I think we rallied for a bit. Then he landed another good shot. And then it carried on. Then I was like, oh, forget this. We better start swinging anyways, because the round's coming to an end. Then I caught him. He caught me, back and forth. But I mean, if it looked like I was hurt from the outside and whatever, I couldn't care less about it. Bottom line is I finished the round with the last punch. I came out the next round, did what I had to do. But yeah, like it was a good round. Well, I watch it back and I'm like, oh, this was an entertaining round. Yeah.
Josh, the rounds that you mentioned where towards the end, or maybe even before then, you'd both start swinging at each other. What we've never really seen that from, we've never had to see it from you. What made you go into that state of mode with this Craig fight in those rounds where you'd both stand there and just kind of let your hands go?
He's a good fighter, man. He's a good fighter. He brought that out of me. Maybe in previous fights, it wasn't brought out of me. I'm not too sure, but he brought that out of me. And like I said, where you're both local boys, and you know the crowd have come to see. Oh, we know these guys. They're both from the same area, X, Y, and Z. Your pride is on the line. You're gonna fight hard, and that's exactly what Spider was doing, fighting very, very hard, and being very stubborn. And I was doing the same thing. So I think that was just inevitable. It was always gonna happen like that. You know what I mean? So it came out like that. In terms of how the fight also went stylistically, I don't know whether I was expected to come out as a boxer or as a fighter or whatever. But like I said, man, whatever I have to be to win, I come out and I try to do that. If I have to box a bit, I'll box a bit. If I have to fight, I'll fight. Whatever it is, I always come out and try to do that.
What did Virgil make of your performance?
I haven't spoken to him since because after that, I had to do the drug test. That took forever. So he went to the hotel. Of course, he left the next morning. But where he is in the States, they're 8 hours behind us. So we're 8 hours ahead. So right now, if it's 1, it's probably early in the morning there. So I'll speak to him tonight. I have a long conversation with him tonight to break it down, to hear what he thinks. But definitely that fight showed that there's some improvements to be made, which it's like every fighter wants to impress their coach and hear the coach say, you know what, good work. You did, we had to do X, Y, and Z. But if there's improvements to be made, it's a good thing. And I'll tell you why, because then there's room for improvements. Whereas if you come and you're the full package and when you perform, it doesn't look good, it's like, well, that's all you can do. That's you at your maximum. But for me, I know this isn't my maximum. I know there's more to add in, more things to work on, more things to improve. So I'm very optimistic that I'm going to get better. I'm not saying this is my peak and this is how I fight and that's it. No, I'm going to get better. So I'm excited about that, man.
Josh, in the post-fight press conference, Virgil was asked where would he rank you in and amongst the past fighters that he's trained or guys who's currently training with. And he said that you're arguably the second best fighter he's worked with, behind the one and only Andre Ward, who's obviously went on to achieve great things within the sport and went out on the top. What does that mean to you to hear somebody like Virgil say that and comparing you against all the past names he's worked with, and to only currently be behind, like we say, Andre?
Yeah, I mean, he said based on the dedication that I show, and it has been a lot of dedication. Like I said to people, I've been out in the States from January till May. I came back to England 2 weeks before the fight. I haven't been home. I haven't been around family, been around people that I'm comfortable around. So yeah, it takes a lot. You know, like today's Monday and I've woken up in the house that I live in. It's a nice feeling to wake up and just like live a normal life, have my tea, have biscuits, just be chilled. Right now, it's after the fight. Ask majority of fighters, there's nothing to do after a fight. You chill and you're on your own time, and that's what I love. When you're on your own time and everything's cool, calm, you know what I mean. So it's nice, but it takes a lot of dedication. But it was good to hear him say that because I'm not gonna say to him I'm dedicated. I'm just gonna show it to him. You know, like I've been out there for months. I could have gone home, you know, when the fight got because we were meant to fight in April, but it got changed to May, and I could have gone home because I was like, oh, let me go home, have some downtime. But I stayed in the States. I said I'll stay here and still be away from my comfort zone. So he recognizes it, he acknowledges it. So that's good, man.
Josh, you've been used to traveling the world for years now, going back through your amateur days, spending time away from home. Obviously, as you get older now, does it become any more difficult spending time away from home, especially for longer periods?
Nah, not really. If anything, it gets easier, man. Well, in this career anyways, because the fights will get bigger and I understand what's required. Or if I don't understand what's required, I've got the right people that will teach me what's required. The only thing required for me is the dedication and time. And I've got that in abundance. Like and even I think after one of one of the press interviews, no, this was on fight week. I said, man, that the word selfish is usually associated with bad things, but actually being selfish can be a good thing. And in this instance, and in the industry that I'm in and other fighters, you have to be selfish. Sorry, bro, a Zoom call was coming. But yeah, you have to be selfish, man. So yeah, not that it gets easier, but
Josh, just obviously picking that back up there. You're a busy man. Obviously, there's a lot of people who want to talk to you. I was actually thinking it might be Will Harvey who set this up because he's been messaging me asking if you jumped on. So I didn't want to be rude and answer him whilst we was talking, but it's all good. But yeah, I've lost track as where we were. We was talking about the selfishness of being away from home.
Being selfish comes with it. And you asked me whether it gets harder as I get older, and I said no, it doesn't. You get used to it, and being selfish and being dedicated is required in the sport. You know what I mean? And I just have the people around me that understand it. And I understand what I have to do, because ultimately you get in the ring alone. So saying that you weren't able to go to this place or that place because of someone, that's weak. You can't do that. You know, pay the price. So when it's time to fight, you win the prize, you get the prize, but you have to pay the price first. So that's kind of how I see it.
At the beginning of that answer, Josh, before we kind of got briefly cut off there, you said you mentioned, sorry, about when the fights become more difficult and you step up through the ranks. There's not really much more left in terms of difficulty for you to go on to, except for world level and challenging for your first world title. He was brought up post-fight. He was brought up during the week as to how far away you feel you are. Are you ready in your mind? Would you be happy next to challenge for a world title? I spoke to Eddie in the week, and most realistically, because you've got the Peterbiev Smith unification, Bivol would be your most likely route, dependent on if he rematches Canelo. In your mind, are you ready for it?
Yeah, man. I've said it for the last, I don't know how long, but you know, we had a meeting with Eddie before I left to the States, and I said to him like, these are the fights that I want. So you know, for me, I've said I'm ready. Of course, Eddie will try and make the fight happen, and it's very important to also consider what my coach will say, because he sees me every day in the gym. He sees what I'm doing. He knows what's required. He'll see, okay, he's still got a lot more to learn, or actually, no, it's the right time, whatever it is. But asking me as the fighter, I'll say, yeah, definitely.
Virgil did say in the post-fight press conference, Josh, that although he'd be happy for you to face a Dimitri Bivol, maybe you need one more fight just to kind of get that extra bit ready. Do you understand where he's coming from?
Yeah, I think listening to what he said, you want to go in it prepared rather than, you know, going in and winning and maybe losing it straight away. You want to go in there, win it, and keep it for a long time, which makes sense. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, it's these decisions is something that I will sit down with my team and say, guys, these are the options. You know, talk to me. What should we do next? But whatever I do next, just know that I'll be in there to win it. Like when I go in the ring, it's not to not win or not be ready. If I'm in that ring, it means I'm ready.
Is there anyone outside of world title grounds, Josh, who you do look at and you're interested? But obviously, you've got the Anthony Yarde fight, which will continue to be mentioned for as long as you guys are boxing. But even outside of Anthony, I mean, you've got the Maxim Vlasov fight, who I'm sure everybody, especially in boxing, would love to still see that. If it wasn't to be a world title next, would be a great fight.
Yeah, that would be a good fight as well. I think whatever fight it is, I don't really care as long as I know that we're going for gold, and that's what it is. We're going for the gold. I don't want to be having these fights that don't do nothing or mean anything. Do you know what I mean? So as long as it's the right direction towards it, whether it's the world title or whether they like actually take one more before that fight, whatever it is, fine. Just let it be the right direction. As long as it is, I have no problem. And I haven't specifically got any names or whatever. These guys that I fight, bro, it's never personal with them. Spider, it wasn't even personal. We've known each other before. We just understood for this period, we had to see from a different lens and fight each other. After that, we're cool, man. So it's never personal with these guys. So I haven't specifically got like a personal name. I just want to make sure that I get the title.
You've had one London rivalry with Craig Richards here, Josh, and as we mentioned, Anthony Yarde. In your opinion, would the Yarde fight be bigger than what Craig Richards was?
You'd say so, yeah, because it's a fight that was spoken about for years. And although Spider and I have been in the same weight category for years, it was never spoken about. But it actually, the build-up was amazing. The interest from the public and that people showed up, the atmosphere on the night of the fight was good as well. So take nothing away from what Spider and I did. You know what I mean? That was quite interesting as well. But yeah, I think the Yarde one would be bigger just because it's a fight that was spoken of, that has been spoken about years and years ago.
Do you think yourself and Anthony could cross paths before either of you win a world title?
Well, the way I've seen it, it looks like if you're doing this waiting for a world title, you might be waiting for a long time. So we all probably just need to get on with it and fight each other. And from what, I'm not a promoter or anything, bro, but you know, Spider and I's fight, fair enough, I won. So you might say, Buatsi, your stock's gone up, cool. Spider didn't get the results on the weekend, but I can't say his stock's gone down. Impossible to say that, do you know what I mean? So, you know, of course, people may not want to fight in case they lose, but I just see us, we're all in the same country. Let's make it happen, man. Like, why not? Like I always say to people, I don't want to be 40 and sitting down and then ringing one of the light heavies thinking, look at these lot fighting each other. Why didn't we fight each other or seeing each other when we're outside thinking we could have had a good scrap at the O2 or wherever you want to say in England and it would have been nice. But, you know, yeah, I hope we do get to fight each other, man.
How much more does it whet your appetite to face somebody else domestically, though, Josh? Whether it be for a world title or not, you've just had a little taste of it with Craig. When you look at Anthony Yarde, Callum
Bro,
Smith,
it's very interesting now. Like it was, what happened on the weekend was actually, it was amazing to be part of it rather than being in the audience watching it. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I think it's because it was domestics, both good fighters, world level as well. It was nice to be part of it. And I'd love to actually do that again. Do you know what I mean? So I think let's all mix it up, man. Like, of course, there's other issues that people need to talk about, but if we could all get on them, we should.
Yourself and Anthony have run into each other at other events outside of boxing previously, and we've heard the comments of you speaking about the fight to each other. Has he reached out to you since Saturday night? Has he messaged you just say well done, bro, or anything like that?
Nah, he hasn't. He had Spider to beat me. I think I saw something on Twitter. Yeah, I think the week of the fight or the week before, he said, yeah, I think Spider wins because he's not as easy to hit as Buatsi is. So, bro, you got that wrong. Yarde, you're going to be watching. You got it wrong, bro. I won the fight, so you got it wrong. But again, it's opinions. Everyone's got one. His was wrong on the night. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I haven't heard from him since the fight. I don't expect to hear from him since the fight. We might bump into each other. I don't know, but I haven't bumped into him or heard from him.
Right, Josh, just before I let you go, how are you going to celebrate this victory?
Boy, I think I've already done it with what I've been eating. I think I've already done that. But the aim is to stay on it, man. Do you know what I mean? Just stay on it to keep improving. There's so much to do. But yeah, it was 12 rounds, a good experience I'll take from that. You know, the rounds, the atmosphere, kind of like the build up, what went into it and everything. So it was something to learn from for sure.
I was going to squeeze one more there, Josh. When would you like to be out next?
So we're this is end of May. So May, June, July, like August, September, man. I'd be more than happy to be back out then, 100%.
You think you could squeeze 2 fights in after this year,
I'd
or?
love to do September, October, November, and then get one in December. Yeah, why not, man? The aim is to get 2 more in this year. Do you know what I mean? The last fight was Spider, no injuries or anything. Few swellings and the hands swell up as well, but other than that, it's all good, man.
So potentially Dimitri Bivol in December.
You said it, not me, bro.
Right, Josh, listen, I appreciate your time. I don't want to keep you for too much longer, but it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you for doing this so soon after the fight as well, and enjoy your downtime until you're back in the gym.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Moran.